talk a lot about how these young guys don't know what it's like to go through the Big Ten. They have to experience it. Is a game like tonight kind of what you mean when you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this was one of those games. There were a lot of twists and turns to it, and as I told them, I thought Illinois, obviously played very, very well, and they hit some of the most timely shots I've ever seen, and give our guys credit. A few weeks ago we probably would have crumbled, but we kept our composure. We kept fighting. Lost the lead there in the second half and made a couple big plays down the stretch. But I think we were up 59-51. They went on a 10-0 run or something like that. I thought, as I told them after the game, I said, look, this is kind of Big Ten basketball. We had to make our own breaks down the stretch, and we did it.
And eight field goals in the first half. Cold shooting or their defense, we don't know about it.
Yeah. I didn't think we were real efficient. We got off to such a slow start. The first play we foul, we didn't have a great pace to us. Then I think maybe we foul again. Jaquan's handoff, and it just, I don't know. I had an odd feeling to start the game of like, gosh, we're not clicking the way we need to. But then, Jaquan picking up two quick ones, and I thought AJ was tremendous. I was worried about Jaquan in the second half. Talked to him at halftime, and I thought he was tremendous in the second half.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about Mark Loving's play today, how he led you guys in times when, you couldn't find offense?
Yeah, well, Mark was very, very efficient tonight. I think that, he kind of had a huge three in the corner, but also was able to put the ball down on the floor, got to the foul line. Mark has had a really, really good focus last few games, and, as your lone upperclassman on a basketball team, you hope that that's something that we can continue to ride on.
Ben, you mentioned that 10-0 run, Illinois in the second half. Jaquan said that there was maybe some finger pointing your guys there during that before they kind of snapped out of it. Was that something you saw, and how did they work through that? Was it them, or is it something you saw?
Well, we talked about it. I think that that's something with this team that we continue to try to talk about the maturity level that we have to have. They know deep down inside when the five guys that are out there are connected, our defense is a heck of a lot better. And we got to continue to build that, especially as you go on the road now, and times are going to be tough.
The play you referenced earlier about Mark Loving, he collected Cam, I think, threw it to him in the corner there. The game was tied at the last TV timeout, and you guys hit that shot and never trailed, I believe, after that point. Just for him to be a guy that's coming into that role, hitting the clutch shot and everything else, just you got to be happy to see those kind of things go for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the one thing we knew in the off season that really Mark and Jay Sean and Kata were going to have to play at a little bit of a higher level than they've ever played at. And we've challenged those guys, and Mark in particular, as I said, the lone upperclassman on this basketball team. And I'm excited for Mark, because Mark has done a great job in terms of his preparation, and he's trying to do as much as he can to help this basketball team.
Coach Gross kind of touched on the point of the disparity between the amount of free throws that you guys shot between how many they shot. What do you think you guys did, or was there anything specific as to what you guys did to be able to get to the line a lot more than they were able to?
Well, I think that you look at the first couple possessions, and we had picked up three like really, really quick fouls, and it was give Illinois credit, they were playing very, very physical. And I think that was kind of what they were looking to do. I thought that a lot of those probably came into the game when they were fouling, but sometimes it sort of happens that way. The drives were there. Obviously, Mark getting to the line. You look at how he did it. It was a shot fake drive, finishing through contact type of deal.
At the last, I think, 351, you went small for pretty much the first time all year. I know their big likes to kind of pick and pop a little bit. Was that kind of what went into that decision, and how did you feel you guys handled playing without?
Yeah, I mean, Finke is such a scary matchup because of, you know, he shoots 13 times or whatever today, and 8 of them are threes. And that's something that they do a really good job of exploiting. What was funny is when we had that and they were driving the basketball, you felt the lack of presence of our shot blockers down there. And I was like, where's our, and I'm looking out there and we're small, but I thought our guys did a pretty decent job with that, just in terms of, especially on the offensive end, because I mean, Kata had a flash drop to JT, and you know, they forced our hand there a little bit, just in terms of pulling our bigs away from the bucket, and you know, Jay Sean has a better feel and can kind of multitask it on the offensive end.
Yeah, can you address the spirit of your team as it was at the end of the 4-game losing streak, or coming out of stores, as it was after the Kentucky game, and as it is now?
Well, you know, I think that you know, looking back, I've tried not to think too hard about those times, but you know, we're a team, and we're by no stretch of the imagination where we want to be, but you know, there was some uncertainty, and the thing that we had to do was get these guys to believe in each other. You know, the butt kicking we took at UConn was a great teaching experience for us, just in terms of how they attacked us, and we could never kind of fight our way through. I thought, you know, you go back to the Kentucky game, I thought one of the great things was we had a great first half of basketball, and Murray gets as hot as any player I've ever seen, and we take a 16-point lead to 3, and we found a way to win basketball games. You know, I think that's something that happened with tonight's game. You know, we had to find a way to make the plays, and guys did that. So, long answer to your question, but I think that the morale, there's a little bit more belief in terms of what we're trying to do, and probably a little bit more knowledge of how we have to do it.
Thad, you mentioned you talked to Jaquan at halftime after he sat for 18 minutes. What did you say to him? And I think, you know, he went out first possession, I think, and attacked and got a floater in the lane. Did you want him to just, you know, keep playing the way he did, or what all went into?
Well, I told him, I said, your ass should be rested. You know, there was no question about that. No, I didn't know, because I think that I couldn't be happier with the way he came out and played, because you know, I had talked to him in the first half. I said, look, can you play with 2? I may need you, because AJ was exhausted out there. In fact, they got an easy bucket on us because he just couldn't move again, and I was pushing him up the floor and that sort of thing. But you know, it was nothing strategic. I said, look, just go out there and play and get back into the flow. You know, I told him when he picked up his second foul, I said, you got to sit over here and pay great attention to what's going on in terms of what they're trying to do. And I thought he did that, because defensively he was really good as well.
Coach, I aspire to your new look, no tie and a little scruff. Did you implement that after you became the winningest coach in school history?
Yeah, well, I hate wearing ties, and I will say this, I don't know if you've noticed in the 12 years you and I have been together, but I sweat easily. This is so much cooler.
As do I. So that could, yeah.
Yeah, and
it takes me a towel to get through a show.
Yeah, exactly, and so, no, I don't know. I'm hoping that the hair on my face grows on my head.
There are, you know, mid-court shots, you know, at end of games that you can tell right away are off. And I'm just wondering what you're thinking, that shot by Hill was closer than most, you know, at the end. I'm just wondering, when the ball's in the air at the end of a game like that, what goes through your head, or what you were thinking there?
Well, the one thing I thought John was going to tip dunk it, because John was out on the court going to see it through. I thought maybe he was going to tip dunk it. But no, I think from the standpoint of you know, I wanted Mark to make the free throw. We were contemplating, did we want to foul or whatever. You know, sitting at home last night watching that TCU Oregon game, that nothing surprises me anymore in college sports. And you know, it's so funny, because I thought about this morning, for whatever reason, maybe we need to practice. Sometimes we do like half-court shots in practice, just sort of messing around. But since you don't practice them, if they go in, it has to be luck. And literally when that ball was going through there, I'm like, not today. Not, so, but fortunately it was off.
Also, a quick question. You seem to be getting a lot out of Cam lately when he's called upon. Just what difference have you seen in the last couple weeks or so?
I think Cam is really settled into who he is and what he is for this basketball team. You look, obviously he's making shots, scoring, but you look at the other end, and he's a completely different defender than he was a month ago. And he's more prideful. He's really starting to understand what his role is defensively, and he does have that ability to score some quick buckets for us.
Coach, on the topic of defense, you guys held them to 40% shooting and forced 32 three-pointers this game. How proud are you of this defense right now?
Well, I think that we're getting there. The thing that I would say that I'm not pleased with, we made some mistakes and they made us pay for them tonight. And those are things that they're going to happen. But with that said, we can't, on a dribble keep, give a guy a dunk. On a horns action, on the second ball screen, we can't give a layup. So, with that said, but I do think we're understanding scouting more. The first three that none hit was a great pass by Tate, and they kind of got us on that. But we've got to continue to build it, and I like the direction we're heading with our defense.
Yeah, most of the damage you guys have done has been here at home in this winning streak. Other than the Kentucky team, obviously, you've been on the road a few times, but now you're going to play two of the toughest gyms, perhaps, in the Big Ten, and against beginning with Northwestern, team that's won a lot of games already. Just, do you feel like you're ready for that challenge of going back out on the road to see what things do?
Well, I talked about that after the game and said, hey, we're going to see where we are, because the last road game we played at UConn, we were awful, and it will be interesting to see how we come out to start that game. And no question, you touched on it. Northwestern's playing some great basketball right now, and always a tough place to play. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.